AJ Chambers has been dedicated to servicing the UK public practice market with their talent requirements for over a decade. During this time, we have built an unrivaled network and understanding of the market, from partner relationships, practice sizes, client-based profiles, services provided, charge-out rates, and the working culture of those practices. I myself have spent 10 years in the banking industry, along with many years as a consultant on various transactions, from MBOs, commercial transactions and acquisitions in a variety of sectors and different territories. This combination of commercial experience and industry knowledge place us in a unique position to assist our clients with their growth strategies and exit plans. As your trusted advisor in these transactions, we strongly believe it's your firm, your clients, your legacy, and that underpins everything that we do. But first of all, I wanted to start with one of the most common inquiries we receive from our clients, and that question is my business of value? This question usually comes from practice owners of £500,000 turnover or less, and the short answer to that question is yes, your business is of value. We here at AJ Chambers have dealt with many transactions at this level and are able to help. Every process is different, but ultimately we have a generic framework from which we work from with these transactions. First of all, there is an initial brief. We then have signing of NDAs, which allows us to disclose the name of both buyer and seller. If there is a want to move forward at this point, we hold an initial meeting. After the initial meeting, if there is a general consensus in which everyone is positive about exploring further, we then furnish and share information and other financials between both parties. Once the buyer has had a chance to digest this information and they are wanting to move forward, we have an indicative offer at this stage. If the indicative offer is accepted, we then head to heads of terms. After heads of terms are drafted, this allows us to have a document in which we're to move forward from and the framework about how the deal would look like from structure and other variables. After this point, there is due diligence, where further forensic analysis is carried out by the buyer. If the buyer is happy after this due diligence is carried out, then there is a drawing up of contracts, or an SPA, a sale purchase agreement. This will have all of the framework about how the structure will look and how the deal will be closed, including a completion date. Upon this agreed completion date, the transaction is completed and closed. People do not often realise that it is the intangibles rather than the tangibles that cause problems in transactions such as this. That's why it is important for us as consultants to remain involved every step of the way through the process. It is even more crucial that the goodwill is maintained between buyer and seller throughout the process. So any difficult conversations that need to be had or addressed, us as consultants will have that. So fee block sizes or practice sizes vary from deal to deal. We work with top 10 firms all the way down to smaller independents. In monetary terms, that means from your 50k turnover all the way up to your 10 to 15 million pounds. Pleasingly for sellers, COVID-19 hasn't had a detrimental effect on business valuations, where we are seeing them remain at pre-pandemic levels. However, on occasion, the transition period on deals is expanding, maybe from 3 to 5 years. This depends on the buyer's risk profile and what their perceived risk is to protect their investment against client losses or revenue losses. So this has actually changed over the last 18 months or so, where traditionally it was always a multiple GRF and the upfront consideration was paid with 2 other instalments deferred, and that would be a third. Now, with new accountancy firms coming to the market with increases in technology and potentially outsourcing to various territories, raising up the net profit margins, people are now basing valuations around EBITDA to cater for those changes. However, we are still seeing predominantly a lot of these deals being done on multiples of GRF or turnover. Again, this can change from deal to deal depending on what the outgoing partners are looking for. So sometimes deals are structured from 1 year, 2 years or 3+ years, but typically we are seeing 2 to 3 years. There will always be clawbacks involved to protect the buyer's investment. My advice, speak to someone like ourselves as soon as you can. It doesn't matter if your retirement plans are 3 to 5 years ahead. It is good to speak to us now so we can help you prepare your business for sale. We can also at that time speak to buyers and start courting them who may be looking at their growth strategies and have you as an acquisition in their plans going forward. We can also make sure that all the considerations that you would have to look at beforehand are covered and that you feel comfortable with that. That is such a broad question and one that I probably wouldn't be able to answer fully in this Q&A. However, what I would say to you is the headlines are making sure that your financials and your internal financial reporting are all in order, making sure that in your mind you have your ideal exit, i.e. how long you want to stick around for, would that be 2 years, 3 years, and ultimately what consideration you're looking to achieve. Additionally, ensuring internal controls are in order, so that would be your client files, your anti-money laundering processes, compliance and employment contracts. And finally, on the internal controls, I would also, in today's world, look at what technology you're using and accounting software. And finally, an important message, every business has its own complications and nuances. Transparency and honesty is key right from the very start, so that we as consultants can mitigate that or unpick these issues, ensuring that every step of the way through this process it runs as smoothly as possible. No, so both on buy and sell side there are no exclusivity clauses as such. However, when we make a formal introduction to a sell party, the buyer then is locked into the exclusivity period for that particular seller over a period of 18 months. Legal advice is absolutely crucial and essential in transactions such as this for any party, and we would always advise that you go seek that advice. We here at AJ Chambers are not able to offer legal advice. However, we have an incredible network of corporate and commercial lawyers who will be more than happy to introduce to you so that you can make that decision. Often our clients will use a blend of finance or borrowing as well as their own cash reserves to acquire and complete transactions. We here at AJ Chambers are unable to offer that financial help. However, we do have a great network of finance houses and other lenders which we will be able to introduce to you.